here. Good morning. It is that kind of day. Happy birthday to me. Thanks, Sarah.
Oh, man.
The sun is shining, nice and bright. The birds are chirping,
and I'm ready to fly.
Time to get ready
for another day.
No one can stop us. We gon' learn to play. Every day we learn and play.
We do our best, so we'll be great.
You do your best,
and I do mine.
So let's get ready. Cause it's about that time. Good morning, you. Good morning, how do you do? Good morning, time to be great. Good morning,
Your hands are great.
good morning,
Start today.
good morning, open your eyes. Good
Reach for the sky.
morning to you. Good morning, how do you do? Good morning to you. Good morning, how do you do?
Good morning.
You see me on my grind.
Woo. Stars got to shine.
I'm a supernova.
Yeah, you see me taking over. Yeah,
I'm on the move. I got a way to shine to. So let me hear you say, every day we gon' learn.
Play. Hey. What's happening? This is Rolling Out AM, the wake up call with Crystal Jordan, Reality Check, and Romeo International, and of course, First King James and AR Shaw. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good, man. You celebrated a big day today, man.
I know. How you doing? How you doing?
It's good, man. No ventilator over here, boy. Not going to see anybody. Yeah, I am blessed. Thank God for just another day, man. It is good.
Hey, man. All the honors, congratulations. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the good energy you put into the world.
This morning. I thought you were going to be spinning. I thought you had a spin surprise over there.
We got surprises.
I still am considering that, but now I got a book to write. Crystal got to get me in up on Barnes & Noble for all our good stuff that we're doing. So, no, I'm in a good space, Thank God in comparison.
I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah. We got 2 minutes before it's Crystal's turn to go. And I'm so grateful that she's here today and looking forward to adding a few more women to the squad, Romeo. So we said it out loud so the world knows that Rolling Out AM will add some more women to the program. Yeah. What's happening, AR? It appears as though everybody is going bananas and having fun doing it, They don't know what to do out there.
Yeah, man. It's the summer, man. This summer kind of reminds me of Do the Right Thing, where it's just like it's hot and then everybody's on edge and it's just ready to explode, man. So, we trying to make sure that people really, take the time to think, take the time to mask up, because we definitely gonna talk about some of the cases that's occurred in America. It's crazy because if you look at a chart of COVID-19 cases, it's like America's going up and all the other countries are going down. So it's kind of like we like the last students in class. We like in detention and we can't get out of school because we just didn't do our homework. That's what it is right now to be in America. It's like we're still stuck.
I like that analogy, but I think it's more like the 7-year college student. You just enjoy life. You just can't leave school and you do all the immature things still. You're like that John Belushi. You're still at school, I don't know. It is the wild, wild West. They do not call us the West for nothing. And unfortunately, we're participating in that fraudulent behavior. But
well, now you see, the mayor of Atlanta has created a mandate where you will get fined if you don't wear your mask now. So I think it's a $75 fine, if you're in a public space, could be a store, a restaurant, any place out in public without a mask. So that should change some of the behavior. Romeo, you look like you don't think that will change things?
Is the restaurant still open? Is the club still open? Is the park still open?
I have no idea about the clubs. I just see what's happening on Instagram because I can't even imagine why people want to be that close. Restaurants are open, but they are supposed to abide by the social distancing rules, which I think is 6 feet apart for tables. But you have to, we all have to go to the grocery store to get your essentials, but you have to have a mask on. Gas station, wherever you're out, you have to have a mask. And she's trying. Now, a lot of people are saying she put this in place because she has COVID now. And now, but it's going, the mayor and the governor are going back and forth because the governor said that we should not be doing things that are discouraging places opening back up to restart the economy. So it'll be interesting to see if this does have an effect on the cases, bringing them down.
When do we get rid of this dude?
The thing is, it needs to be a national mandate. Until it's a national mandate, I don't think it's going to really have a large impact, because you think about it, if it's in the city of Atlanta and you're outside of the city of Atlanta and it's not that same, you don't have that same mandate, then you still have that issue. If you look at Japan never shut down. They never had high cases, but the thing is, 95% of the citizens they decided to wear masks, and so their cases never had a balloon in cases.
Right.
I think the ignorance of Americans was causing these issues.
It's not ignorance. It's not ignorance, Amir. It is willful disregard for the information that's been provided by the medical connoisseurs. They're the ones that gave us the information, and we just choose to ignore it, including the White House. So the White House, the people who were appointed by the White House to head this thing, this health crisis, this pandemic, the president and the vice president and many of the governors have chosen to ignore it. So that's not ignorance, because you were provided with the information. So it's total disregard of the information, I believe.
Well, it's willful ignorance. It's not choosing to apply the information that you're given. That's definitely something that has to be addressed in the future if we're trying to stop this thing, because it's like we've seen that this thing can be stopped, but for some reason it's like this is the only country that can't stop this thing, and I don't see an end in sight anytime near in the near future.
Well, we got a new
They're gonna let Crystal give us a report so we really get a.
Just on another note, reality check. I'm gonna do a quick reality check on, we talk about relationships, love, marriage, and everything in between. So Love and Marriage Huntsville is returning on OWN this weekend. We had some great conversations with the ladies from Love and Marriage Huntsville last season. The show is back and actually did really well. OWN has done a great job of really showcasing Black love in a way that really connects with African-American women, especially. The series comes back on Saturday, and we're still dealing with one of the most popular couples, which is Melody and Martell Holt, dealing with infidelity. And so this is a scene that from this upcoming premiere for the second season, which shows Martell talking to a friend of his about the aftermath of his affair.
Shame.
Wow.
Well, I think we're going to run that clip.
Producer dropped the clip on a Thursday.
And the clip.
And shout out to everybody on Facebook while we're waiting on the clip. Shirley Carter, Renee Wright,
Shirley.
Angela Watts. Good morning. Good
morning. Watts. What?
Oh no, Angela.
Jimmy Folks. We see you, Jimmy Folks. He said,
AW in the building.
So the question that this clip is going to raise is, do you all think that infidelity is worse now or feels worse now because of social media? Martell is talking to a friend of his. His affair became public knowledge. People are tweeting about it and talking about it. And his friend is saying, hey, all these blogs are going in. Do you guys think that the ramifications, the aftermath of cheating is more, it just feels worse because of the fact that everybody knows, not just the people in your neighborhood or your family members that found out, but if the other woman is talking to her friends and they're tweeting stuff and they're posting stuff, do you think that makes the situation even worse? Thoughts on that, Romeo?
Oh no, Romeo going first on this one. AR, you going first on this one, brother.
And it can go either way. In this situation, we see that it's a man cheating on his wife, and the information is out. So he actually called, because people started to know about the situation. He's calling the mistress, which I don't even think that people are called mistresses anymore. I think cheating is so popular. There's no stigma. There's no stigma on that. But okay, so we're gonna run the clip with the two guys having a conversation.
Man, we about to go cut some trees down.
Got to cut a couple down.
So what's up, man? Talk to me.
I've heard some things. Man, I hadn't hollered at you in a minute.
Yeah.
But more than hearing, man, I've been seeing y'all go crazy on social media. Like, what is all that about? I'm in like a couple little groups or whatever, and they have.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, those groups are.
Them groups be killing me, I heard.
Oh, they on you. They're on you. They are on you, dog.
Like, what they be talking about?
They are coming with all sorts of screenshots. My God.
Oh, yeah, tearing me up.
Right. Did you see that somebody beat her car up? Spray painted her car, did something to her car.
Yeah. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, man, I ain't gonna let nobody come between my family and our happiness.
That's good, man.
Yeah. We did our dirt.
Right.
But the thing is, you don't disrespect my wife, though, you know? That's why I called her peasant at the beginning. Nobody knows that.
You think she felt like she might have been disrespected?
For me to say something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
And it might be lashing back.
Man.
Obviously, I know her and a few of her associates. So
Yeah.
It seems kind of a little bit outside of her character. I actually happen to know the young lady in question. There was this restaurant/bar that all of us used to go to and hang out, and she worked there. I found out about Martell's mistress when the rest of the world found out. And when I found out who, I was shocked even more.
It has come to an end.
I hope so.
Man, listen, I gave that time too much time. You know what I'm talking about?
Got you.
So I'm moving forward from all of that, man. Period.
Move forward. That's what I do, brother. Move forward.
He's moving forward, actually putting together a crib for his new baby. He and his wife have baby number 3 on the way. So again, you guys think you clapping, Romeo? Clapping
for him to move forward? Yes. For that brother to move forward? Yes.
But the idea of cheating being shared, I mean, his wife has to walk around, and now people know the mistress has posted pictures. Everybody knows what's going on. Do you guys think that is harder on a marriage than back in the old days when we didn't have social media and people weren't necessarily sharing sharing information about the affair?
Well, I think everything is amplified, and I think social media makes everything amplified. And so even when I think about like how our schooling would have been if we had social media when we were kids. You know, when we were kids, like we could just go home and not really worry about anything else. But now it's like 24/7, so it's like you can get bullied in every hour of the day. You can get some type of bullying. So yeah, social media makes everything worse. So
yeah, and
I don't think it's a great thing.
Yeah, think about our leaders. Think about if John F. Kennedy was our president and we had social media back in the 60s. Would he have risen to the iconic status, or would he been mostly known as a whore? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of things would have been uncovered about many of the people that we admire, including within the civil rights movement, had social media been around then. It would have been ridiculous. So yeah, social media has changed things dramatically. It's a technical revolution.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. What if one of Martin Luther King's mistresses had posted a picture? That would have totally changed the emphasis.
See, I wasn't gonna mention his name, but
I wasn't gonna throw the names out. But
it's a reality check. I gotta keep it real. It's a reality check. Does not negate the amazingness of the man or his message. However, so I guess mistress is still a thing. In the clip, you guys tune in to OWN 8/7 Central on this Saturday to see what happens with this relationship. Will they be able to, move forward with their new baby? One of the things that he said is he wants to move forward. That'll be interesting. I just can't imagine. I think that social media adds another level of disrespect because other people are inside of the relationship. So that is that. Okay, my flowers fell. That's okay. Move on to Future, who has created scholarships for students affected by COVID. Now, I'm always thinking as a publicist, great move. Future has been in the news for some negative things recently, just a lot of drama going on with his personal life. So this is actually a really good move by his camp. They have created scholarships for students affected by COVID. And his quote is, "You don't have to be in the perfect situation or come from the perfect background to reach your dream." So these scholarships will be available for high school seniors. They are required to submit a video describing how the pandemic has affected their life, and they have to have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA and reside in the state of Georgia. I'm not sure if Future had a 3.0 GPA. However, it's quite, I think it's good. He's trying to do something good in the wake of everything happening. So, great PR move. Hopefully it'll help some students out there whose families have been affected by the pandemic.
All right.
Good stuff.
I'm sorry. Great, man. Rollingout.com, man. Rolling Out AM wake up call. I'm trying to get there. I'm with them. Woo.
Good.
Okay. I guess it's supposed to be checking in.
I think Carrie is here.
Carrie, you here? I heard Carrie was out on location.
Is it?
I thought she was in the park.
Keisha.
Yeah,
I think
she
it's
was just
Keisha Greene.
It's me.
Yeah, hey, Keisha, how you doing?
Hey, everyone. How are you guys today?
Good
Great
morning. Good morning.
Beautiful.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Listen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call. This is Keisha Greene. She's a single mother, 3 boys, entrepreneur, life coach, empowerment speaker, author, and amputee known as the Legless Diva. And she has overcome incredible odds to become a very successful author and businesswoman, and she has just been inspiring. So we had to welcome her back so that she can drop some nuggets of wisdom on us this morning. How are you doing?
Listen, I am amazing. Wow. Everything you guys just talk about, Crystal, you better tell them, okay? I am just so happy to come in on this morning, and I have to start this inspirational let go I'm going to give y'all on today, just kind of piggybacking off of what you guys were talking about when it comes to the social media and it comes to the cheating. Last year, I had an engagement that went absolutely viral all through the internet. And, me being a bilateral amputee in a wheelchair, having a guy that's fine, everyone's like thinking he's doing me a favor or what have you. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, what's amazing is that he's cheated and I rolled in peace. Okay. Yes. Now listen, I rolled in peace. And I say that to say because I realized, now listen, I had been with this man and he had cheated before. Mm-hmm. Listen, before I was in the chair. Mm-hmm. Check this out. Mm-hmm. My spirit said, you stood for some things you ain't gonna sit for. Okay.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes.
And,
yes.
So I stood for some things that I wasn't gonna sit for.
Yes.
And I gave him a for real wake up call. I rolled in peace. I didn't slaughter him through the internet. People didn't even know. Some people today, like if they weren't paying attention to me just not having a ring, they wouldn't even know because I just rolled off.
Right. Wow. But let me ask you though, because I applaud that, and I think women need to hear strength from other women, especially in hurtful situations like that. How did you deal with that internally? You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to be in a public, to be on social media, but when you're not in front of your phone or not looking, at your computer, and you're just by yourself. How were you able to deal with the hurt and still keep yourself in a good space internally?
You have to realize this. I had to be realistic with myself, and it wasn't easy. It was a 2-month process for me to really get back. But I knew that the world was waiting for me. I have people that are like in my DMs, like, where are you? We waiting for you to come on. So I knew that people were waiting for me, but also we have to be realistic here. I lost both my legs. If losing both my legs ain't kill me, ain't take me out, and ain't make me lose my mind, I'm not about to lose my mind over no man that's walking on 2 legs and obviously can't stand in integrity. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
I love it.
So there's different ways of being able to stand. So some people think they standing and they sitting. You sitting because you can't stand in integrity, honey.
Wow. You need to talk to Melody Holt from Love and Marriage Huntsville. She needs to talk to you.
Listen,
you just naming names today, ain't you?
You know, started some trouble, King James.
And you know what's crazy is people would have probably been like, "Girl, you just need to take what you could get."
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate you saying that, because that is, and to me, that is the mentality sometimes of our other African American sisters. We don't see ourselves as queens to the point where we are available to get any guy who sees us in that light. A lot of times we judge each other. Oh, well, she doesn't have this, or she looks like this. She shouldn't have this type of man. And that mentality, when a woman says that to you, she's speaking about how she sees herself. So I appreciate you for being honest and saying that women are the main ones that look at other women and assume, oh, she's not good enough for him. That's a reflection.
Oh, absolutely. And being a woman in a wheelchair, I know all the time that you get women, because you do get catty women. You do get women who are just, aren't integral. And they'll be like, oh, I know I could take her man because she's in a wheelchair. She don't have legs. He deserves better than that. Like, no, honey, you might think that he's holding me up and I'm the main thing holding him up. And this is not a wheelchair. This is a pedestal. So you got me all the way messed up, okay? Oh. One thing you know, when you get me, you ain't gonna carry me. You ain't gonna carry me. It just looks that way. You understand? I understand that look, the disability look of me is disguising it, what allows me to come through and just slaughter, okay? They'd be like, whoa, I didn't even know. So I believe disability is my disguise. It's my weapon.
Lord have mercy. Okay. What you just said brought back a quote that I have long lived by, where Huey Newton of the Black Panthers said that I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees, because a lot of people are living on their knees, which is kind of analogous to what you were talking about earlier. So I wanted to talk about how people kind of try to get it together from the outside in instead of the inside out, in which you have done. And I want you to talk about that process, because we got it twisted. We got the cart before the horse.
Listen, the thing is, it all just really starts with your mind and the way that you feel about you. Like, people embrace me because I'm so confident about me that they just go with it. A lot of people be like, yo, I know I see you in a chair, but I don't even look down. Like, I don't even see that you're missing the legs. And it's just really making up in your mind, making a decision of what you're going to go for. It comes from doing a lot of self work. You got to work on you. You got to fall in love with you. You got to have an intimacy with yourself. And one thing you know is everybody knows when bad things happen and tragedy strikes, it's like a separation. It's a gap. So during that isolation period, I realized that isolation was my empowerment to where I was going, to be an inspiration to my elevation. You understand? So I know I'm 10 feet tall. People never forget me. It's the greatest thing that people thought was going to kill me that disguises me and allow people to never forget me. I'm telling you, people never forget Keisha. They never forget the Legless Diva. They never, ever forget that. So for me, I just believe it's all about willing to stand when you have nothing to stand on.
And before I get to my next question, because I wanted you to talk about both of your books, I wanted to make sure that we got Romeo up in here, so so he can ask you a question. Romeo?
I appreciate that, man. Keisha, I want you to look into my eyes, Keisha. I want you to see my eyes when I say this, Keisha. You looking? You looking, Keisha?
I'm looking.
You see me?
I see you.
Last Thursday, you set my soul on a different path. Like,
wow.
Last Thursday, listening to your story last Thursday, you made me appreciate every single minuscule thing ever on this earth.
Wow.
And I didn't get a chance to say this, but I gotta say, I'm starting to love me some Keisha. So I just want to let you know, thank you for your words.
Oh,
honestly.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Like, I'm so shy about taking compliments and things like that, but I greatly appreciate that. And that's truly who I want to be. I want to change people's way of thinking. And if I could get a few minutes to just talk about standing real quick, Terry.
Oh yes, please. Please do a Huey Newton on us. Come on.
Guys, about when I came from the hospital, okay? I was home about a month from the hospital, and I remember that there was a fly. There was a fly, and this fly was so annoying. It was annoying me. I went to stand up to kill the fly. You understand? So the thing is, I didn't have anything to stand on, but the fly was annoying me, and I went to stand to kill the thing that was annoying me. How many of you need to just stand, even though you can't stand, and kill that poverty mind? Kill that complaining mind. Kill what's coming against you in your mind. But check this out, is what I realized is that's not the only time that I went to stand. And I went to stand so many times because I still had the nerve. I still had the nerves. So being that I still had the nerves, my mind didn't even know that the legs was not there to stand, but it just goes to show you that if you think it in your mind, even if it's not there to stand on, you will still go head on and do it if it's annoying you enough, if it's bothering you enough. So if poverty is bothering you, if a negative bank account is bothering you, if working for somebody is bothering you, you just gonna have to have the nerve, you understand, to stand up even when you don't have what you need to stand on.
See, that's, you got me going again here. You know, last week, and I wanted you to elaborate on it. I don't want to take up all the time because I want Chris to jump back in. But last week you said, when all that happened to you at the car accident that took away your legs, and we said, when things happened to you, you said, no, it didn't happen to me. God, Jesus gave it to me. And I was just like, that blew me away.
It happened for me.
It happened for you. And so I had never heard anything like that before. So please tell me, what do you mean when you say it happened? It happened for you, and Jesus, it was anointed.
It happened for me. I am Keisha Greene. I am the legless diva, bossing with ability, wheelchair divas, and Dari Salon Suites, falling to stand, severed to faith, rolling out. Morning, you and Steve Harvey, Creflo Dollar, it happened for me. So it was the very thing that just allowed me to truly live in my purpose. All of who I am today was branded from broken.
Woo!
Nothing that I do today does not allow me to truly live in my purpose and divinely who I am to be. That's another reason why I don't wear the prosthetics. I'm not blending in.
Okay. Crystal, did you have another question?
Keisha?
No, I don't. I just.
Keisha got me all in my feelings right now, you know.
Everybody in our feelings. That is powerful. Branded from broken. That is just so powerful, because I think we all, your message is so timely. There's so many people dealing with so many things, and so many people feel like they have to hide the thing about them that makes them different, or the thing about them that shows the trauma they've gone through. But your blessing is obviously through that. You know what I mean? And the fact that you're so transparent. You're definitely, you're blessing us this morning. I can't believe how many people, I can't imagine how many people are listening to that and getting the strength to deal with things that are nowhere near as painful and as traumatic as what you've gone through. But just being transparent and being open and walking through that's admirable. We thank you so much for that example, Keisha.
Crystal, I thank you for that. We have to realize this too, though, because you said something. You said there's people going through things that aren't as traumatic or as impactful as what you've been through. And I really don't like that, because that makes a lot of people feel like what they're going through is not it's nothing major. So for me, what I realized for that, because what I have went through is so powerful, and it was a lot, that I've learned to have a level of empathy to realize that what a bee sting feels like to me may feel like a dog bite to somebody else. So we cannot judge the level of impact of what people are going through, also because we don't know the level in their mindset. So something that may be minute to me may be major to someone else, and we just have to let it be that. So we can't say what's more traumatic or what's more impactful to somebody's mind mentally.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
Yeah, I got my offering plate ready to pass around because you just, I mean, you delivered some invaluable, powerful gems this morning. Before you go, please name off the books that you have written so that people know how to get them.
I'm gonna stay around. I'm staying around this morning. I'm hanging out with you guys.
Mary, she is here. She's part of the addition of women. I think the part of what we want to do of rolling out is make sure that we bring a voice and encourage our sisters to know that they're loved by all of us. And now we've got the other young sister. Now it's starting to kind of balance out. Kind of like more natural that the family, the Black family.
Yeah, but I'm intimidated now.
You should be.
About you.
You should be, because a whole giant has arrived.
Hey, Carrie.
Hi, everybody.
So, Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
Oh, Keisha, I loved everything you had to say this morning, especially about Branded from Broken.
Wow.
Literally the reason I started yoga. Like you said, we all have traumas. It starts from the inside out. I love that. That recovery starts from the inside out.
Thank you, Terry. That's absolutely true. That's just the way it has to happen. It's no other way. The outer can definitely not be it. If I needed to stand on the outer, I definitely would be sitting.
So what we getting into today with this organic flow? I'm ready to get my flow on. It's Thursday. I've been waiting for 2 days. I couldn't breathe for 2 days. I'm ready to breathe.
And remember, I interned at the Detroit Free Press, so I know Detroit a little bit. Where you at over there?
I'm in what is this? Grand Circus Park. Yes.
Okay.
Grand Circus Park. I never know because I'm not always at this park. I'm usually at Lafayette Park or Palmer Park. There's so many beautiful parks in Detroit. But basically, the Organic Flow team offers community classes throughout Detroit in parks. We're actually partnering with the Pistons soon, the Detroit Pistons, to offer yoga in more parks around the community.
For real?
Super excited right now. And
that's nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wow.
Proud of you.
So
now we know why you had to go handle your business last week. You know what I'm saying? Because we was all in our feelings. You had us feeling some kind of way.
It's her moment. This is her moment.
No, I was just out.
But you can text her in the chat. We appreciate it. It's her moment.
Okay. I just wanted to let her know I was hurt.
No, you're still talking.
I was hurt. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carrie.
Here you gotta do yoga and heal that hurt, like we said, from the inside out.
Let's go for it.
Or on Zoom and do some classes. But again, this conversation this morning really has just got me so inspired. Just talking about how it's a mindset. We all experience some sort of trauma. Right now, as we talked about, a lot of people are experiencing racial trauma. We've been experiencing that most of our lifetime, but now it's just at a heightened level. So I think right now breathing is especially important for us to relax the mind and body, so we're not in this state of fight or flight and stress and worried and feeling anxious about the future. That's certainly what a lot of our students report feeling. They feel very tight about right now. We don't know what's next at all in terms of the pandemic or the protest or anything that's happening right now. So in order to feel a bit more grounded at this time, highly encourage everybody to do some yoga, do some breathing, which is yoga, do some meditation, which is yoga, just to center, strengthen, and relax the mind so we can stay strong in our fight towards liberation and freedom. Everybody, how are you today? How are you guys feeling?
I feel good.
Beautiful day, Carrie.
Good day. Well, we're gonna do a little breathing. So one of the reasons I came outside today, not only it was a request from a couple students who wanted to do it in their backyards. I told you I would come on here so you could see my stomach today, so I could demonstrate what Munson needs to do with his stomach. Every time we do this breathing, he's like, I can't focus. Should I be doing this or should be doing that? So today I just want to show you this diaphragmatic breathing. A lot of times we breathe from the chest, and it's because we're stressed and we haven't been breathing deeply as we have been or as we previously did when we were babies. I don't know if you all have ever observed a baby breathing, but their little stomachs are just moving up and down. You know, they're breathing naturally. They're not yet stressed like the rest of us, where we're breathing from our chest. We're using our neck and all these muscles up here to breathe, where that breathing should really be coming from our abdominal area.
And what did you call it? Diaphragmatic?
Diaphragmatic breathing, yes.
Diaphragmatic.
So we're gonna get into a little bit of that today. So first, let's go ahead and place our hands on our stomach. And then go ahead and close your eyes. And when you experience, or if you have experienced trauma, sometimes it's not always easy to close the eyes. Completely understand that. And if that is you, never any judgment. You can take your gaze forward, just a soft gaze forward, and try to steady your eyes. Even with your eyes closed, work to steady your eyes. Bring that gazeless gaze right to the center of your eyebrows. In some spiritual traditions, they call this your third eye, or they might call this your intuitive eye, your inner eye. So work to focus that inner eye and watch your breath as it moves into your body. Now with your eyes closed or that soft gaze forward, just feel your breath. Notice your abdominal area. And then let's take a huge breath into your belly. Feel it expand with your breath. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in until your belly feels like a balloon about to pop. Breathe in, and then open your mouth and let the breath out. Let's take another deep breath like that. Open your mouth, let it go. Now let's open our eyes for a moment here. Just want to ask you as we go through this, did you all actually feel your belly expanding as you were breathing in?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. I really want it to be exaggerated. We're going to try that again, but I wanted to ask before we went any further. When you breathe in, you want to go. You want to actually feel your abs working here, okay? So it's an inner workout, right? You're making sure your abdominal muscles are actually expanding and contracting, okay? So let's try that again. Sit up nice and tall, everybody. Whether you're on the floor or in your chair, if you're in a chair, try to place your feet flat onto the floor. Your hands, at this point, you can rest them in your lap, but if it's better for you to stay connected with your breath and you need that sense of feeling to stay focused on your breath, highly encourage you to bring your hands back to your belly. If your hands are on your belly, bring one of your hands to your chest. So that way you can make sure it's not the muscles in your neck and your shoulder area that are being used to help you breathe. All right, let's go ahead, close the eyes for a moment. Start to use that inner eye to notice this life-giving breath moving into your body. As you inhale, take a deep breath into your belly. Fill up both of your lungs. Feel the breath rise to your chest. As you exhale, slowly release your breath out. Feel your chest and your belly soften down. Breathe in. Fill it up, expanding the belly and the chest. Exhale as you release your breath out. Breathe in, feel the breath rise as your spine straightens. And breathe out as you feel the shoulders begin to fall away from your ears. Breathe in, fill your body up with this gift of breath. And then slowly let it all go. Allow both of your palms to come together and let your thumbs rest at your heart. Let's close our breathing practice with one collective healing breath through the nose. On your next inhale, breathe in, fill your belly up again like a balloon, filling it up, breathing in. This time, hold your breath. Open your mouth and let it go. Namaste. You guys for practicing that with me this morning.
Thank
How are
you.
feeling?
I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, centered.
Tranquil.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Romeo,
how about you? What kind of face is that?
Oh, I said I feel like I need a hug. Like that's how I be feeling. Yeah, you got me all in myself. Well, you and Keisha back to back, boy. That's whew.
I mean, Keisha did raise the vibration before I even got here. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Wow.
With your breathing this morning.
Yeah, it must be the estrogen. It's working. It is working this morning. I mean, I got Keisha got me all in my feelings. I got Carrie all in my breathing. I'm feeling good this morning.
Do you have any tips for you know how sometimes and I'm asking this as a runner, because as a runner, you know how sometimes we'll get that sharp pain on the side sometimes. Do you have any tips, breathing tips, how to help that when it comes to relaxing?
Well, I think those cramps and running are from lack of water. So I think before you do yoga or you run, drink a ton of water to manage those cramps. But two, when you start to feel it, I would say keep breathing, keep going. It's not going to help if you just focus on the sensation. But that's one of the points of meditation is to train your mind to stay balanced, whether you're feeling pain or pleasure, uncomfortable or you feeling comfortable, but just to deal with it and be balanced, right? So I would say if it's a really painful cramp, just maybe stop and drink some water or breathe through and keep going. Just observe the sensation without reacting to it.
Well, thanks so much, Carrie. We appreciate you. The park looks excellent. And of course, we always are proud of Yoganic Flow. And I've got the belly part down. I've been working on the breathing. So
great. That's the hardest part.
Now it's still this, being able to go longer than my 3 to 5 minutes in terms of morning meditation. So those are my areas of growth, Sensei. And I figure out how to feel the mind for longer periods. But yeah, I got about 3 minutes in, and so working on that. I love the breathing now.
Good. I cannot wait to bring some folks on to also share with us some more reasons why this breathing is so important. It really helps you stay present, stay in the moment, release the past. I tapped into your conversation about the cheating. I think is one thing we can do, just breathing to help us deal with emotional pain, right? Like we can just ruminate and dwell on the past and those experiences and emotions that we felt from being cheated on, or we can stay present and focus on what we have in the here and the now and not what we lost in the past. So I think breathing helps with everything. Breath is life, Breath is another chance to start again, whether it's on or off your mat or with a partner. It's always another opportunity to start again.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much. And we are going to hear from Romeo. Hang around. You let us know. You're always welcome. You don't have to run away, but we appreciate you being here. So don't always run. If you have time, you're here with your family. So visit. Romeo, it is your.
So I can hear you guys out when I come outside.
Yeah, hang out a little bit. We need more ladies on the show.
AR, jump on, man. You don't want to miss this. King James, you definitely don't want to miss this. Check this out. It's the Romeo International Social Report. I'm here with my boo Keisha and Crystal Jordan because I love all women and all women are great. And this has nothing to do with my report. I don't know where this comes from.
Okay, we appreciate the love. And today, our fearless Munson Steed, it's his birthday, along with some other one distinguished gentleman, Richard Roundtree. Yeah, is 78 today. Happy birthday to Richard Roundtree from Rolling Out. And former Football Hall of Famer O.J. Simpson is 73. I think O.J. Simpson is enjoying his birthday in prison. But it's his birthday as well.
Oh no, he's out. He's out, Crystal.
He's out now?
Yeah, he's out. He's on the golf course. He's chilling.
Back on the golf course? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he back on the golf course.
Oh my gosh. I thought he was okay. All right. Well, happy birthday, sir.
Yeah. Let that man be free.
Happy birthday. The juice is loose yet again.
We got balloons, yeah. The cake is on the way. We got the music playing, cause it's your holiday. Woo! We invited family, and everybody came. I strike a pose for me like you in a picture frame. You got your finest clothes on, and $1 million smile. So we gon' celebrate you for a while. Yeah, and don't forget we got the candles. When you away, don't forget we got the candles. Happy birthday, gonna celebrate you for a while. Candles, blowing you away. Wait. Candles. Happy birthday, happy girl. So.
Hey, happy birthday, happy born day to all the good people out there. Mustard Seed and all the good people celebrating birthdays today.
And there you go again. Thank you very much. We appreciate everybody. It is a great day. Live in this moment. Live in your truth.
Oh, we're not done. So let's go to this Romeo International Social Report, rollingout.com, Rolling Out Fit Club, Rolling Out Social Life, Rolling Out Health IQ, Rolling Out Lunch and Learn, just a lot of rolling out. We're going to start off with Kanye West. Amir, get your boy. When they say the way we're going to fix COVID is with vaccine, I'm extremely cautious. That's the mark of the beast. They want to put chip inside us to make where we can't gross the gates of heaven. I don't know what drug he on, but I'm gonna need somebody to please help Kanye West. Like he running for president, he talking about health.
I think. Well, go ahead.
Also, because we got to come back to that. Also, man, shout out to Universal Music Group. Universal Music Group is going to release Def Jam Africa. Everybody knows there's music all across the world. People don't celebrate music all across the world, especially Black music across the world, because Black people are great everywhere across the world. And Universal Music is about to open that part. Universal Music is about to open the Africa division. Now, speaking of music, I found a collector's item for the birthday man. Yes, y'all didn't know Munson Steed actually released the album in 1984. Y'all didn't even know this. Let's pull up the footage because y'all didn't even know this. He had that album that came out. I need y'all to pull this on time. Producer, I need you to drop this.
You might want to make
y'all didn't know.
A long distance phone call or something, bro.
The birthday boy came out with an album. And it featured Usher, Tank, Jamie Foxx. I found the cover. It's called Look Into My Eyes. With his first single, What I'm Trying to Share With You. Now, I know y'all hear him say that all the time because his new song, What I'm Trying to Share With You, came out and it took off in the charts. So shout out to the birthday boy.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to the birthday boy. And go purchase the album on iTunes right now. Look into my eyes. What the Steve.
That's what I'm trying to share with you. I can imagine the lyrics to that.
Oh man.
Hey, you know, I love you, man.
Yeah. Your joke will come tomorrow in the paycheck.
I love you, man.
Love you too. Don't listen to Brother Shropshire.
Oh man.
Thanks, Romeo.
Got you, man.
Thank you.
I'll make sure I send all y'all that album cover.
Yes, don't keep them waiting. Thanks so much to everybody on Facebook. We are rolling out to them the wake up call. Happy birthday to everybody. And thank God for another day. Victory is in your presence, so take it. It's yours. It's all on you. Here, rolling out AM. Our guests are, take it away, Amir Shah. Welcome all our guests. Hey, there we go. Don't they look beautiful?
That's right. Thank you.
Hey, don't they look beautiful? I tell you. Need to take a picture for us, Crystal. They need to be on the cover, you know.
I want everyone. I want you guys to start off, introduce yourselves, and we're gonna go into the Q&A.
Okay, all right. My name is Iyana Ma'at.
And my name is Ayize Ma'at.
And we're the founders of BlackLoveAndMarriage.com and Therapy for Black Folks. We're in this mental health game, this healthy relationship game, this
all right
into how you feel game. That's what we do.
Okay, that's what's up.
Definitely. So let's talk about some of the things that you guys are doing now, especially with helping out relationships during this time, because a lot of people are together for so many hours, and it's like, you know, they're really getting a chance to really know who their partner is at this moment. So what are some of the things that you guys are doing to kind of help relationships out at this moment?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing is that we're providing online relationship coaching to couples across the country. We are definitely recognizing that people are struggling right now in their relationship. And we're really trying to provide some assistance through engaging them in coaching sessions, relationship coaching sessions for several weeks. And we also provide relationship coaching groups to women specifically, because a lot of times the women are clamoring and trying to get the attention of their men. And so, you know, I'm leading a lot of these groups to try to help them to understand how to better connect in with their man and get their man to do something different, you know, in their relationship.
Yeah. And our newest project, which is coming forward and launching this summer, is an online counseling platform. It's 100% online. And it is the ability to be able to really have your therapist in your pocket. So you can pull out your phone, use your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, and you have ongoing access to your therapist. It's a subscription service. So whenever you are dealing with something, you can text them, you can have a live audio session, you can have a video session. And this is different from like the traditional model where you gotta wait like once a week, I gotta wait and come talk about my stuff. And the difference between us and some of the other models out there is that we are prioritizing the needs of the African-American community and people of color, because Black folks specifically and people of color, we have specific needs, and we have some things that need to be handled in a very culturally competent way. And that's what folks oftentimes are, you know, considering, like, hold up, but do they understand where I'm coming from? Well, if I say this, I can't be explaining that. These things are important. And so that's what we're doing in terms of this online counseling platform that we're really excited about.
Do you guys find that is our community being more open and embracing the idea of therapy? We've been talking, we've had a big like mental health awareness, enlightenment, I think, over the last few years. Do you guys see that couples are more, are looking for opportunities to go to counseling and are more open to therapy right now?
I would definitely say there's been a shift. I think particularly in the younger generations, I would say, you know, 40 and under, that's still young, right, y'all? And so I think there's been a shift. Okay.
Yes, that's still young. Yes, please. Thank you.
Like, yeah, they're still younger. But I think that even though there's been a shift and the people are more open, I think just in our community, there's still a lot of stigma. There's a lot of stigma around counseling. There's still a lot of questions that come up for people. And some of the things, the barriers that get in the way are like, oh, but You know what I'm saying? But what about your faith though? Like, are you really praying? You know, and people have these kinds of cultural kinds of stigmas because for people of color and Black folks specifically, faith is important. And that becomes a measure of like, how well am I doing? You know, can you trust the system? And historically, Black folks and people of color have had to pay attention to that for good reason, because there has not always been a system that's really helping us. So there are barriers and things in mind. That's why cultural competency, which is really about the ability to meet you where you are, and come to you from a place of concern about where you are and how you're experiencing the world is so important.
Keisha?
Wow. My question is, I will say during the COVID and the quarantine, would you guys say that you see a rise in your services through people having to spend so much time with each other and just being closed in? Because, you know, a lot of times people like to spend time alone. People love to be in relationships and to be in marriages. But even for me, myself, I like to have space. I love to have time and intimacy with just myself. And I guess the pressures of just being you know, able to either go to work and come right back, or having to be out of work in the house all the time. I know I've seen there has been a spike in like domestic violence and different things like that. So we say people are taking advantage of the services more during this time.
Yeah, we absolutely would. What we have noticed is that, and I mean, it's to be expected, but you know, when you're able to get up and go to work and go to the gym and do things that you would ordinarily do, a lot of times your relationship gets put on the back burner. And so, you know, things get swept under the rug, but now you got to deal with all your dirty laundry and you're smelling everything up in the house. And so being as though you got to reconcile like what's going on in the home, how do I manage my stress with my spouse? How do I manage not cussing out the kids? How do I manage not kicking the dog? Like, it's intense. And, you know, when this stuff is right up in your face, then, you know, you got to really find a way to deal with it. So, yes, we definitely have seen an increase in people reaching out. And DV, domestic violence, is real. It's happening. And couples are trying to find a way to negotiate and navigate their situation with the very real situation that's going on with domestic violence in homes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's hard out here. It's hard out here. And so we're here to provide the service to help people really figure out ways and strategies to cope for themselves, because as you say, a lot of times people do want to spend time by themselves, and that's okay. That's actually healthy. But we also don't want it to be a thing when you spending time alone becomes a threat, or is perceived to be a threat by your partner, because they don't know how to be able to self-soothe and manage their own emotions during that process.
I agree.
Speaking of which, speaking of managing your own emotions, and of course, you have to have a good relationship with yourself before you have a good relationship with someone else. And what I found, and I was watching a talk show, and they all said what I was thinking, but could not articulate. This is the fact that every time I get a sniffles, or every time I start to feel tired, or every time I feel bad, I'm like, okay, I got COVID. I need to go to the hospital. So it's bringing a sense of anxiety, and what I'm sensing is that it's people are taking it out on each other. So I know this is not about a relationship, but it's about a relationship with yourself. Did you have any advice that you would like to give to people who are really stressed out and feeling paranoid that every time they come from the grocery store or go out, they come back, they get sniffles. Oh, I got COVID, when they don't.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because during this time, what we find is that folks who already had some pre-existing anxiety, whether they had a formal diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder, or they just know they tend to be anxious, their anxiety has increased perhaps tenfold. Those who were of us who are like, no, I'm good. Now we say, wait a minute, I think I'm starting to have some, I want to go out, and how long I'm gonna be out, and how do I manage that? And what I tell folks is we really need to focus on what it is that we can control. I think the brain oftentimes focuses on all these things that are outside of our control. The virus is going up, there's an uptick in cases, now you can get it, if you touch this or in the air, what have you, but what can you do? Everybody's like got all their little sanitizer, but what I can do is I can start to have some rituals that I put in place in my life to help center myself, to help ground myself. What I can do is wash my hands, is be mindful of who I'm around and focus on that. And I think particularly for people of color, who we know, specifically Black folks, have traditionally a strong faith life, utilizing that during this time, in addition to mental health techniques to center you, I think is important, because you do have to have some level of trust and surrender to the fact that you can't control everything. All you can do is breathe and do the best that you can do.
Well, I really appreciate you guys sharing your wonderful platform, because our community needs to be able to access help. I think the beauty of this, when I heard about it, was the fact that this technology will reduce some of the distance between people of color and conscious color providers, Black providers.
Yeah.
It'll reduce those who don't have the ability, might be in a small town where they don't have the ability to get to a Black therapist. And I am so proud of you guys. I'm looking forward to having you share your journey, even to develop this platform, because our community, I think if you'll leave us with at least 2 to 3 words so that we can increase our emotional language, because I think our community doesn't have a good grasp of what emotional language is so that they can describe their feelings of anxiety, or if they're lonely, so that they can share with their partner what they need. So if you've got 1 or 2 words to increase our emotional intelligence right now, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I would say from a man's perspective that it's important for us to emphasize and be okay with expressing that we're hurting or that we're afraid. So just being simply able to say that I'm afraid and I'm scared, I've had to do that a number of times with my wife, but as well as with my children as well. And so we have 5 children. So in our life, in our household, we got to manage a whole bunch of stuff. And so, yeah, for just me to be vulnerable and express that I'm afraid. I don't know what the next move is, but I know what our move is going to be, to try to maintain and manage your emotions as well as our emotions in the situation. So just saying I'm afraid and I'm hurting is, vulnerability and honesty at its best.
Absolutely.
I think that's wonderful. So got to come back and share with us, Terry.
We will. We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Terry's going to check in for your services. We hope real soon. Since he's had all this anxiety, we want him to be able to experience these services so that he can share with us what it's like. So
yeah, I got problems. I got problems.
Problems.
Yeah.
No, Terry, we have problems. Now, we have problems. There is not a perfect human being.
That's right.
So,
that's right. We all do.
You're not alone, Terry.
Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Peace.
Welcome.
All right, I want to welcome our next guest, music executive, CEO Keisha Carter. What's going on, brother? Welcome to
Hey, how's everybody doing this morning?
Great.
Everything is good. So I'm gonna introduce myself. AR Shaw, I have Crystal Jordan, Keisha Greene, and my man Romeo International. And we just want to start off, man. Kind of introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, and just you're a little bit about your story.
Man, so all right, my name is Keisha. My real name is William Carter. I very rarely tell it, but because I like you guys, man. 30-year music executive. I started out as a rap artist, signed in 1990 to Epic Records. I went on to do work with Uptown, Tommy Boy, BMG, Sony, Universal. I managed artists such as the Yin Yang Twins, Nappy Roots, Petey Pablo. And then started a independent company, Q Records. We had a distribution deal with EMI. We put out a record with Huey, Lil Flip. God rest in peace to Huey, who passed on recently to gun violence. And we have a new situation, Q Global Entertainment, which is now in a joint venture with BMG. And we've also diversified a bit. I'm involved in a number of other industries. I own a percentage of 2 cigar companies, one in the Dominican Republic, one in Nicaragua. I'm involved in a film company, and we're starting to build up our production roster, our slate of films. And I have a charity called Our Children Love Always, where we're devoted to finding alternative measures of treatment to children with cancer and help to financially support those families, especially so that families who can't afford proper care get the kind of care, the equivalent care of a family who, say, is well off financially.
Definitely. So I want to start off talking about Huey, man. Of course, Huey, he released a single, Pop, Lock, and Drop It. It was a big single. He was actually signed to your label. Can you talk about, I guess, that experience working with him and I guess just your reactions on his untimely passing?
Yeah, look, Huey was a wonderful artist to work with. Pop Lock and Drop It, what didn't come out with us, it came out on Jive Records, and we put out the second album, Redemption, with a single Smile and Wave. I mean, like anybody, he was just a young, energetic kid who just, it's from Kinloch, which is a more urban, I hate to use the word dangerous, but it's just a more high crime area. And he chose to do something different with his life, and it was commendable. And even after, we worked together, he went on and he was in the process of putting together a clothing line. And, he and his guys in his neighborhood had got together and was trying to help the community. They were putting together parties and events that were safe environments for people to be able to, come out and enjoy themselves and not have to worry about, getting into any trouble after the fact. And, from what I understand from the story is that, he was not the intended target. He was just happened to be in the car. He was shot in the leg and the bullet happened to hit an artery and he bled out on the way to the hospital. So it was even more tragic in that sense that he had actually not done anything to warrant any kind of, retaliation or he wasn't involved in anything that would put him in a position to have to fear for his life. Yeah. And anytime that happens, it's a horrific thing and it's a stain to society. And it's especially hurtful for us as a people because we've got enough fighting against us or working against us in society overall. And so when this happens, we should all as a people take it personal.
Definitely. Keisha?
Wow, I guess I think one of the things that stood out to me when you said, one of the things that made it a little bit more difficult is the fact that, he hadn't done anything to actually, receive what had happened to him. And, it's been so much of that going on, a lot of violence and a lot of shooting. I think last night there was like a 9-year-old shot here in Atlanta, so there's a lot of that going on out here. And as that being, do you feel like the emotional healing or receiving of that is different, being with it happening that way?
I'm gonna be as candid as I can. I don't think anyone's feeling anything at this moment. That's why, things are getting worse somewhat than getting better.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, I think this generation is missing things that, look, we've always had criminals. We've always had crime in communities. Every community has their degree or their level of crime. I just think that this generation seems to be missing a respect for family structure. And that respect for family structure causes them to not respect anything or anyone. If a person can hurt or harm their parents, then there's not going to be any ruler or guide for them to hurt or harm anyone else or feel remorse for that matter. And I just think that, in the earlier days, there was still some kind of code of ethics, even in the street. And just things you didn't do. Like, for example, in the Bronx, a drive-by took place where a man was walking with a 6-year-old daughter in broad daylight. And that's just something that would never happen a generation ago. Let's say if a person, they're enemies and they are looking for each other in some way, if they saw the man with his child, they would leave him alone and wait for another day to confront them. And as you can see today, that's just not the case. So, I think that the community overall needs a healing. I also believe that the system in itself and the media is playing a very large role in the increase in crime in the community because they keep perpetuating a narrative that, especially with the idea of defunding the police, and they're promoting a narrative that is giving people the impression that that it's free to commit even more horrific crimes and that they're not going to be held accountable for it. And that's a big problem for us.
Romeo. Wait, Sean, I'm loving the candidness, but I gotta throw this at you because I'm that millennial cat. So
I love it.
When does the weight fall on the execs and the artists? Because backing what Keisha just said, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm the artist, if I'm the cat that's listening to smoke, drink, kill every day, right?
Right.
And Smoke, drink, kill is becoming a normalcy to me. It's becoming cool to me. It's becoming regular to me. And I go out there and smoke, drink, and kill. Now, what about that artist that put out that record? What about that label that put out their record? Because, like you just said, the rules, and I love the late 20s, late 90s, because it was rules and regulations to the game. Right now, there's no rules and regulations to the game. Young cats are bucking against OGs. OGs ain't respecting young cats. Nobody's finding no middle ground sometimes. But you see these, and I hate saying this, you see these NBA young boys, you see these the dude with the colorful hair. The dude with the colorful hair has made snitching cool. It's cool now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is a twofold answer. You know, on one level, yes, we bear some culpability. We bear some responsibility. On another level, on the other side, the consumer does too. You know, because people have this belief that the record companies control the the course of music, and we really don't. Honestly, it works no different than Best Buy or PC Richard and Son. They really just watch for whatever the consumer attracts to. You know, so if an artist is signed to, first of all, even now is even more so like that because everything is statistically driven in the music industry. There was a time where me as an executive 20 years ago, if I found an artist that I felt was talented and I thought had something to say, I can invest my time and money and resources of the label that I'm working for into that artist and put that artist in the marketplace and try to find a niche for it. In this environment, that doesn't exist. There's no artist development. There's no idea, no vision in how we pick artists. They simply look at the stats. If an artist has 10 plus million streams on a song and he has a consistent streaming, then they're gonna sign that artist. It doesn't matter if they like the music or not. The record company could actually hate the music and despise it, but they'll still put it out because that's what the consumer wants. So being that the consumer has now all of this control over the content that it's receiving, it's very difficult for anyone to say, we're going to guide you to a certain place musically, which is what music used to be. You know, even when you thought of gangster rap with NWA, it was, even though they were talking about similar things to what the artists are talking about today in trap music, it was different because their perspective was more of, I want to show you what's going on in our communities so we can have outreach, so we can get help. We want you to understand that we're angry because this is how we have to live. Today, it's just people are just saying anything that they think the fans are going to like in order to make money. And it's just become something very different. And you know, again, I'm not going to put all of the culpability on the consumer, but a lot of it rests with them because of how record companies are deciding, how they decide what artists they're going to sign and what artists they're not going to sign. And then, you know, the other mitigating factors, a lot of these rappers have big time drug dealers that are financially supporting their movement so that they can get the necessary streaming to get signed to a deal. You know, because when you're in a criminal enterprise or a criminal industry and you have all this surplus money that you can't do anything with, because that's the reality, right? You could make $10 million as a drug dealer and it means absolutely nothing because there's nothing you can do with the money. You can't buy anything really other than cars and superfluous things. So what they do is they invested in rappers, hoping that the rapper becomes successful. And now they've got either A, a way to get out of the drug game and become a music executive, or B, to launder their money, to clean it in a way where now they can utilize this artist as an opportunity to expand their business or as a way to, just find ways to take that money, clean it, it comes back, from a legal fashion, and you now can use that money to make possessions and buy things that you like, homes and, whatever it is, without having to worry about the IRS or some,
So bring him back.
Yeah, so we definitely want to bring you back. But before we let you go, let's talk about some of the ventures that you have coming up. I know you're working with Lil Haiti. You have different other ventures. What's some of the things that we should look out for in summer and fall?
Right. Well, right now, all of our energy is on Lil Haiti because this deal is a new deal, and we're really happy to be partnered with BMG. They've given me everything that I wanted from a support standpoint. we have about 6 other artists that we're starting to develop. We haven't decided who's going to be the second artist yet, because our focus right now is making sure that Haiti reaches, as successful as he can possibly be. But Lil Haiti is it. I manage a number of producers and songwriters, and Justin Love, who wrote Focus for her, Heavyweights, who won a Grammy with Neo, and everyone's working. We're very excited about that. So thank you for having me for my few minutes, and I just hope that, we as a people start to, regard each other more, and we start to consider each other more as one people, because if we can do that, then violence will lessen, it'll subside a little bit. We can't demand that the system change the way it perceives us until we demand that we perceive ourselves differently.
That's what it is. Well, thanks so much, Quayshawn Carter, for taking a moment to drop some knowledge and drop some music history. I really appreciate you, man. We definitely gonna have you back.
All right, thank you. And I'll leave it one more. Can I just have 30 seconds?
Go ahead.
I want to tell a story. I saw a comment that somebody mentioned about me talking Lauryn Hill to go on solo. So I'm going to tell the story really fast. We were on tour with the Fugees in Baltimore, Maryland. And, Lauryn was having a tough time of it, because back then, women weren't treated as equally in the music industry as today. And they wanted her to go back to the hotel while Wyclef and Proswell went with their friends and did what they wanted. So I said, well, you're not going back to the hotel. You're going with me. So we left, we went to IHOP, and we're sitting in the IHOP, she's talking, she's telling all her frustrations to us. And, I just said, look, Lauryn, you need to just go solo. And she's like, you really think I could do it? And I said, man, listen, the only reason why we're into this group, forgive me for saying it, sorry, Pros and Clef, at the time, this is how I felt. I said, look, man, they really should rename the group Lauryn Hill and those 2 extra dudes. Everything is about you. That's all we care about. and we all laughed. And she said, why do you think I can do it? And I said, Lauryn, look around you. You're crying, and the whole IHOP is crying because you're crying, and they don't even know what you're crying about. That tells you you've impacted these people. So, at that point, we went about the process of,
that's a powerful story.
Yeah, we went to shop a deal. I went to shop a deal for her, and I went to Jive Records, and I met with Barry Weiss and Dave McPherson. At the time was VP A&R, and I was thinking I'm all that. I sit up, put my feet up on the table. Barry looks at me and says, "I don't believe you. I don't think you have Lauryn." So I call her, and she tells him, "Look, whatever Quay says, that's what I'm going to do." And he basically pulled out a check and was like, tell Lauryn, fill in the blanks, And then I got a call from Kurt Woodley, and he says, great job on that deal you went and looked like you got, but you can't take it, because when we sign artists, we sign them individually and collectively, which means if the group breaks up, that doesn't mean they can leave. So the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill came out on Rough House Columbia Records, and 15 million albums and 5 Grammys later, history was made.
That's what's up.
That's what it is, man. Well, thanks again, Quayshawn. Thanks for that story, man.
I appreciate it, man. I love to come back.
Definitely. We're gonna bring you back, bro.
In about 6 to 8 weeks, Little Haiti's video will be ready. We're gonna officially, put the single out. Look out for Panicking. It's already up streaming. We're gonna drop the video. It's gonna be incredible. And then we're thinking about maybe doing a remix. There's a few artists who've contacted us about being on the remix. So look out for that. And I'd love to speak to you guys again. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Peace. All right, so we have our next guest here.
Hey, Mr. Columbus Baptiste, how you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Mr. Shaw, I yield the floor to you, sir.
That's what it is. So I am A.R. Shaw. Welcome to the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call. Of course, we have the first King James, Keisha Greene on the screen, and Crystal Jordan, she's here. So I want you to start off. I want you to introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are and some of the things, some of the services that you provide.
Yeah, so my name is Columbus Baptiste. I'm an interventional cardiologist based out of Southern California. So I've been in practice nearly about 16 years. I'm chief of the department and doing all the basic stuff. I've worked with Samsung to develop a program. But one of my passions is really our community. And so one of the issues in our community is really the health disparities. And so I started a nonprofit, and we started working on a concept called slave food. And that slave food is really a journey to kind of educate our community really about the perils of this intersection between race, between stress, and between nutritional stress that really plagues our community, looking at food injustices, looking at fast food restaurants and everything of that sort. I grew up in Compton, and so that's one of my background, that's my basis. And so that's what we're doing. So we actually are working on trying to develop a docu-series, actually. So we've been in contact with different folks. We had a little sizzle. I think I sent that out to the group. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check that out. And so I'm a big believer in a whole food plant-based diet as a key to really offset a great deal of our health disparities. And that's what allowed me to team up with Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine just for a little panel discussion, but I do a lot on my own independently. So the Slave Food Project is something separate from those folks there.
Slave food, I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you know, me and my girlfriend, her name is Ground Beef. You might have heard of her. And you know, we've been together for a while. It provides immediate comfort, but from what I'm understanding, as we get older, get more sophisticated about nutrition, these temporary reprieve from the world by eating this kind of food provides long-term, is deleterious to our health long-term. So I want you to talk about how these comfort foods may be providing immediate relief, but they're not providing any long-term health.
Yeah, that's right. Long, you know, short-term joy is going to bring about long-term pain is the issue that happens. So you're absolutely right. And the one key thing is I'm gonna tell you is not when you get older, it actually happens right now. That's why we're dying sicker and sooner. That's the issue. We look across the board, all of us, what we recognize is we all know people who it's like, man, they just dropping like flies. We see it in the entertainment business. It's hard to follow an act like that. We see it as far as in our community. We see it with our loved ones. And what we do when we go to a funeral, we throw down on the stuff that put us in the grave, that contributed to us being sicker and sooner, right?
That's irony for you right there.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And here's the key to the whole slave food project is if when you really look at it, it's deeper than that. Because when you look at the fact that the government subsidizes the small business association loans that put these fast food corporate companies inside of our neighborhoods, they advertise specifically to Black and brown individuals that our tax dollars go and pay for. They subsidize the food, right? The cheese and the dairy and the sugar that feeds us too as well. But then so out of their mouth, they say, listen, I want you to eat healthfully. But their pockets say, we're going to pay for stuff that's going to kill you sicker and sooner on a regular basis. And so in my gist is I'm tired of kind of seeing this turnstile. At every turn, African Americans, whether or not you hit the healthcare system, we find out that if you have stents that I put in, African Americans don't do well. We die sicker and sooner. If you come in, you're less likely to get admitted to the appropriate ward, get the appropriate therapy. And so we have to take care of ourselves becomes important. So that's the key.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the video.
So in that way, that trigger, that light switch, that trigger that's going to determine, do they have to have disease or not? This does not have to be your story. And it's not to tell you that you're going to live forever, that there's never going to be an end. There's a beginning and an end, but the question is, how are those final chapters going to be written in your book?
Slave food is food that was refused by those in power. It's the stuff nobody else wanted that the slaves then had to figure out a way to make taste good and to try and sustain life on.
It's the manipulation of nutrition for profit and for power.
Slave food is really about answering that really quintessential question. Why do Black people in America die sicker and sooner than everyone else?
The most common habit really is processed food, of eating food. They use food essentially as a way of de-stressing of anti-anxiety or antidepressants, how food is really now used in order to kind of medicate to get a sense of feeling better.
So, I mean, it's well documented that the majority of diseases that people of color suffer from are directly related to what they eat, right? We know that. So on the converse, we can combat them by what we eat.
Every 7 minutes, there's a premature death. Pretty staggering. It's overwhelming that we are dying sicker and sooner than everyone else at these rates.
Why does this happen? From the idea of stress, it can be life stressors, but also the idea really about this unique idea of racial discriminatory stress that plays an impactful role in the manifestation of disease.
Stress is
Wow, powerful stuff. I want to go to Crystal before I have another question, but go ahead, Crystal. I want to get you in here.
Well, we've been hearing this, especially over the last few years. But often people say, moderation is key. But it sounds like this is telling us that there is no such. It needs to be not a part of your diet. Moderation does not need to be what we're focused on right now. Is that correct?
Absolutely right. There's a chapter in the book I read when I first started out. It says moderation kills. Here's the thing I tell folks. If I prescribe you pills, I could prescribe it to you. I could prescribe it to your friend. You may be intolerant at a low dose. Your friend may be tolerant at a high dose. They may say, okay, I can give you 25 milligrams of whatever. I can give you 100 milligrams of this. For you, you're very sensitive. The same thing happens in our body with food. We don't know at what dose it's going to cause harm. But one thing I can guarantee you is it will cause harm. It's just whether or not it's sooner or later. That's it.
You talk about discrimination, and we see how when it comes to the access to food, how it's a discrimination where we see you have food deserts in urban communities. How do we reverse this trend? Because I'm thinking about just being in Atlanta. There isn't a Whole Foods south of I-20, and that's predominantly Black areas. How can we reverse this trend where we have more access to healthier food items?
So great question. So first I'm going to tell you is that discrimination is huge because we know just if I perceive discrimination, it kills me faster. I'm more likely if I'm a female to have breast cancer, to have carotid disease, to have heart disease. Living in the community, what we can do is we can be intentional, use convenience to work for us. We have to go in and pick out the frozen vegetables at Target and at Walmart. We have to use our dollars to demand what we want. We talk about Blackout Tuesday. We talk about this stuff. We have to use that same united force to really say, listen, we're not going to put up with having this junk, right? This food that's killing us in our communities. We want food that's good. That's what Magic Johnson did when he said, you know what, listen, Black folks they drink coffee. We'll support coffee. We will support healthful foods. And
That's just what I was thinking. That's just what I was thinking. We need to defy the stereotypes that are killing us. You're exactly right. Please continue.
There is a price gap, though. I mean, as a mom, when my kids were small, I had a boy and a girl growing up. If I had been able to go, if I had a choice between Whole Foods and Walmart, it would have been difficult for me to go to Whole Foods, early on, because the food is a lot more expensive. And we're talking about urban areas where a lot of them, a lot of single parent families, and there's just groceries are, if you've got, 2 to 3 kids, grocery bill is very expensive. How can we kind of, I guess, balance that out? Because we know that a lot of times just eating the right food is just very, very expensive, where the food that's not great for us is cheaper. It's cheaper and it's easier to make stretch, and for mothers to be able to, to utilize that.
So that's a great point. So I'm gonna tell you, I mentioned I'm from Compton, but my family's from New Orleans. So we grew up on what? Red beans and rice. They couldn't afford the meat, right? So the staple was having beans and rice and vegetables and so forth. Even you go back to the slave era, what happened? We were given the refuse, the stuff cast off, but what happened? We grew stuff in our own plots of land of the vegetables to accentuate that. So when we look at just what you mentioned, we can get frozen rice, you can get beans, you can get various things at your Walmart, Target, local grocers that are there. It's just a mindset. So I always tell people this, we have to think outside the box. If you go and you buy it outside, you're right, it's more expensive. But if I create a bowl, use a bowl method, I'm going to start with my rice, my beans. I'm going to add in my veggies. I'm going to throw some sauce in there. I'm going to roll it up in the tortilla shell, make a burrito. I'm going to spice it up and make it Southern style. I'm going to enrich it with as many and start my eating with as many of the foods that are helping to support my body, right? Because, it doesn't make sense that we're nearly 50% more likely to having high blood pressure. 80% more likely of having a fatal stroke, right? When we hear that stuff, we're more likely to die from heart disease. If we get it, twice as likely to have diabetes, 4 times as likely to have kidney failure, right? My father-in-law and my dad died the same exact year, right? And people say, well, I'm not afraid of dying. And they're right. Most people I talk to, they're not afraid of dying, especially when you grew up where I grew up. But it's not about that. It's about your health span. How long can you live healthfully and productive doing the stuff you want to do without being chained to physicians, chained to the system, right? And so we have to elevate ourselves and really look at, is this food helping to strengthen us mentally, physically, or is it harming us? And all we have to point to is our supermodels, point to our entertainers, point to our sports athletes. They take care of their bodies. Why? Because they want peak performance, right? And we see that. They want peak performance. We want our bodies. We aren't going to put junk inside. When my wife gets her Louis Vuitton, she's not putting anything inside of it. She's not sitting there and letting stuff. When we roll up in whatever car when we got our car, right? We're not sitting there and putting any kind of gas or letting anybody wash it. We're making sure it's just on point. But what we do for our own bodies, we throw junk up in it and we expect it to run like it's just like fine-tuned, and it's not going to do it. So we have to, here's the key. I'm gonna say this last thing, then I'm gonna shut up, right? Resources go where value is placed. Resources go where value is placed. Our community is not valued. We don't value ourselves when we don't demand the appropriate resources to go there.
That's huge.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But
I just want to
much.
jump in. Crystal, I agree with you. Columbus, I agree with you too. And Shaw, I agree with you as well. One of the things is I remember as the pandemic came forth, I sent my mom some money to get groceries and everything so that they could get prepared. She was like, I'm in Walmart, girl. They have chicken in a can. I was like, a whole chicken, she said, in a can. I said, what is that? I said, you can't eat that. And I just was like, why do you think that you should eat that? I said, come on. I told her how old she was. I said, when have you ever known a whole chicken to go in a can in your lifetime? Like, we have to be realistic with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you just decide to mentally go for the foolery. Like, how could that even ended up in your hand and look enticing to you in 2020, a whole chicken in a can? I think for me, it took for me to hear one of my friends say, like, yo, I'm not buying my family food from so-and-so or what have you. I'm only shopping here. And, I have been kind of feeling that way, but I didn't know how people were going to receive it if I said it out loud. So I agree. Also, I agree that there's certain things that you could buy at your Walmart. I do. Right. But there's certain things that I'm not going to buy for my family at Walmart. And as a mother of 3 sons, honey, and all my boys are literally like 5, 11, and taller. They're 18, 21, and 14. Like, listen, all they do is eat my food. Like, I literally just let like it be like a little bit of groceries for like 3 days. I make them suffer. Because I see their plates and they just like, they don't have no breaks. But, I try to feed them what I feel is right and what I feel is good in this season, because I just feel like we spend a lot of money on shoes. We spend a lot of money on this. You know what I'm saying? But you literally walking on your life.
Yeah, literal and figurative garbage.
Do we have a moment, Amir?
Well, no, Dr. Batiste, before we let you go, I want you to throw to your just give us let everyone know where we can follow the documentary and also follow you on social.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So slavefood.org is a way to check out and get what's coming up next. On Facebook, it's Slave Food. My personal stuff is Healthy Heart Doc on Instagram, and I am Healthy Heart on Twitter too as well. We got to change the world, man. I mean, the message for us is the message for the world. And this is not a Black thing. It's not an African-American thing. This is an American thing, man. We lose billions of dollars because of the fact that we're impacted. And I'm going to say one last thing. Keisha, you're absolutely right. That's why, Chris, you too as well. The key is, I believe, sorry, gentlemen, it's all about women. We follow our women's lead. Right? They're our mothers, they're our wives. I'm sorry, King James. I love King James, but I'm telling you, man. All right, it's all about
flag on the play.
women.
Flag on the play.
I'm telling you.
But you got that
Dr.
flag
Batiste.
real fast, so you might
I
be
had
a
some
woman out of play. That flag was too close.
So Dr. Batiste, we're gonna have you back on our Health IQ, which is our our weekly health segment. So we definitely gonna circle back because we definitely want to get you on there to kind of give that audience some advice. So definitely, man, we definitely appreciate you for coming on, giving us a lot of inspiration and a lot of knowledge when it comes to eating healthy, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, sir.
One thing before we let you go, Doc, is we want to make sure we come up with some health KPIs. One of the things coming out of the pandemic, I think, is numbers. Our community, by February, we'd like for you to be on our health KPI team because we want our community to be able to live in numbers. Know what a good blood pressure is, know what type of food, how to get off of sugar, how to be able to manage and know the numbers. But we've got to come up with KPIs so that our community can measure their behavior and transform. It's going to take a moment to get off slave food in order to move forward. And I think that we need a physician like you to be able to create those KPIs because we're not certain as a community, and we all need to get on the same page. The human body does not change its temperature, its good blood pressure, the number of steps, the amount of water, how often you need to go to the physician, manageable care, the family assessment. So great KPIs from you. We appreciate you. We respect what you're doing. So we want to get you on our team because our community must be able to measure its health. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm down. You all let me know and I'm there for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your blessing. Bless you, sir.
I'm gonna hit your Twitter because you missed something. You and Amir missed something. I'm gonna hit your Twitter.
All right, cool. Appreciate you. Take care.
Thanks, brother.
Rolling out 8 a.m. the wake up call.
You saved him, Amir. Good job, though. Good job, King James, Crystal, Keisha.
Yeah, thank you for giving the brothers the credit, because he was trying to cater to the women, you know what I'm saying?
Well, but he's right, though. Women buy groceries more.
That's right. It's the truth.
Any of you have gone to buy groceries at the grocery store? Like, for big
My kids, I have one steak this year because I buy the groceries and I don't buy that. I don't care.
Munson goes to Costco and we shop around. I've been shopping with Munson, so we shop around the perimeter. It's all fruits and vegetables. So Munson is definitely on the wave.
He does.
I think it's therapeutic. I think the biggest thing is meal prep. I think our community has to adjust its tongue. I think you really have to adjust your tongue. And you have to have accountability partners in your life so that you can talk about lifestyle. You can have people that are encouraging you to actually try things and make it different. It takes a minute to get off. It's not like I don't smell chicken wings or see chicken wings and say, man, I know exactly what a good chicken wing tastes like. But I know that can just terribly ravage my entire blood pressure based on the amount of salt you got to put on a fried, clog your heart chicken sandwich. I mean, at that moment, we're not thinking. And when people are taking our money, capitalism has no consciousness.
No, it does not.
Capitalism has no consciousness. We have to have a consciousness about our consumption. And that's all the way around. So I love that, but I think we really got to come out team with some KPIs to allow our community to be able to measure their health behavior. It is a challenge that everybody drink enough water and really stop laughing at things that are harmful because we know that we don't need to be on some of the things that we're on. Next up, go ahead.
Yeah, we have an unfortunate situation. Actress Naya Rivera, she's partially Hispanic and African American, and she came to fame in the show Glee from 2009 to 2015. Well, she went missing about 55 miles north of Los Angeles when she went swimming with her 4-year-old son, and they went swimming outside of the boat, the son said, and she never she never returned to the boat. And so the 4-year-old son was able to tell the Ventura County Sheriff that she never surfaced back up on the water. So she is presumed to have passed, and a search team is actively searching for her at this particular juncture. So we hope for the best, but it's not looking good right now, and we hope for the best for the situation. On to the next report. Whenever our brilliant producer Portia wishes to, well, maybe she doesn't feel like it. She don't feel like it, but we'll go ahead. No, but I think that's,
They be messing with you, King James. I'm on your side now.
Oh, thank you. I need some allies, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm feeling attacked, and I'm vulnerable right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling a little. I'm a very brittle man. I'm shy, and it's just hurting me the way Portia is treating me.
With the shyness.
Okay. Now, no. Go back to the other one. Listen to me. You don't have to. I'm bad at math, but I can count, and the COVID cases have tripled in Tulsa since the end of the presidential rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. So they said, according to the health department, that they averaged a daily case of 70 to 80 cases. Now it is 210 per day. So it's simple deduction. These people went to the rally. The guy in the middle named Herman Cain and many others went to the rally without masks, without social distancing. And now the cases have tripled in Tulsa, and they have no more beds. They have no more space. So, you know what I'm saying? I sat in the back of the class, but I could count and know and pretty much deduce that it came from that rally in other places, in other big assemblies in that place in the last few weeks. So
in the hospital, correct? King James, he's hospitalized right now with COVID, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. The former presidential candidate, Herman Cain, back in 2012, he ran for president. He is the owner of pizza. He's a multimillionaire pizza owner, pizza chain owner. And yes, he did. And he's a Republican. He's a conservative. He supports Trump, and he contracted the COVID, and he is now hospitalized right now with the coronavirus and many other people. And now they're above capacity. They said it's a state of emergency in the city of Tulsa right now. So this is a sad situation. On to the next one. Chavita Leslie. We had her on our show last week, and bless her heart and congratulations, as she becomes the first Black woman to ever play the role of Batwoman. Yeah, she just got that announcement yesterday, and so we just want to give her, bless her with some love, because many of the dreams that she was talking about has come true. And I know that, especially Romeo and Amir, I know that y'all remember her from on the show. So if y'all want to give her some shout outs just in case she's listening, because, there's the fact that she was feeling me when she was on the show.
Yep, I remember that, because I remember that from my brother. Sure was. Definitely shout out. Oh, go ahead, AR.
Oh, no, I remember those half-court shots, man. You were pulling up like Steph Curry out there, Terry.
Yep, give my man some credit.
Pulling up from half court.
And shout out to her, because I'm definitely going to be posting that interview from last week tonight. But I am a DC fan. I am a DC Universe fan. I'm a comic book guy, but I'm a DC fan. So it's going to be curious to see how fans react to the first Black African-American woman being on such a platform as Batwoman. And on IG, on Facebook, shout out to Leslie Isam Rob. She says, from our last conversation, please register for the free plant-based nutrition class with Dr. Batiste. Shout out to Connie Cross, Barbara Fields, Glenn Gods, Girls Jones. That's a long name. D Turner. D Turner is always in the building. She says she loves Keisha. And here we go. She says she loves Keisha and Crystal. Your strength and resilience are amazing. You are a queen warrior. Oh, we here too. The fellas here too. Like, you just kicked all the fellas out the door.
No, but actually there was a flood of comments, about Keisha when she first came on with her segment. Do we still have those?
Yeah. So when Keisha first came on and everybody was loving her, it was like, Keisha, you are 10 feet tall. Love your spirit. Coach Keisha. Yes, coach. Jimmy thanks you. This happened greatly for me. And it goes on. Like I'm trying to scroll and read it at the same time. Keisha, is a lot.
Wow.
But the love for you is there, and everybody appreciates you on the Rolling Out AM wake up call. So
I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate them as well. Like I'm honored to be out here and be able to drop them gems for them.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Do we have time to finish my report, or are we moving on to Amir's report? Producer Portia, the brilliant, beautiful producer Portia.
Right, because all women are great.
Yeah, yes, because we care about all women.
Yes, we are.
Yes, that's exactly.
We are.
You know, because she is just toying with me. You know, Portia's just toying with me today. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what direction to go in. She got me by a string right now. Okay, so yeah, you know, okay, we're going to Amir's report. Amir, can you please take over because Portia is just got.
I'm going to settle things down and get us on the right roll right now. Okay. All right. So back to this, man. We got, you know, this. We have an incident where it's occurred in Philadelphia. Black man was riding his bike past a restaurant, and he noticed that individuals weren't practicing social distancing. They weren't wearing face masks. They weren't 6 feet apart. And so he let them know. He's like, "Yo, y'all need to practice social distancing. Y'all really need to just, you know, be aware of what's happening with COVID-19. The owner pulls out a gun and decides to confront him. So let's play the video. Let's start the video from the top.
Come on, don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare. Oh my God.
The next time I come, we're going to be even. Come on, my guy. Then we can talk that shit. Sit down. Come on,
don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare.
All right. Yeah, so a lot was happening in that video, but definitely it was a situation where we saw the you know, people are on edge right now, and we saw this situation where a black man had a gun pulled on him, but telling people to practice social distancing. And this is just another crazy incident, and it shows you where America is right now. This man could have lost his life for basically trying to help people live.
Yeah, but and I applaud the young man, but it's very imprudent to try to tell people what to do, and it's very imprudent for him to do it in that situation because a lot of people snaps. I mean, I've seen that happen before where somebody they lost their teeth just trying to help somebody else out, and they didn't appreciate being told what to do. So we have to accept the fact if they don't listen to the data, to the medical practitioners, to the epidemiologists, then we must, as they say in the Bible, dust off our sandals and keep it pushing.
Mind your business.
Jesus said that.
I'm paraphrasing.
The King James version of the Bible.
King James version.
All right, so want to move over to the next report. We have here. What do we have? Okay, yeah, of course we talked about this earlier. It was Keisha Lance Bottoms. She went against the governor's order, Governor Brian Kemp's order. He didn't want to issue a mandate to wear a mask, and she went against him and decided to have a mandate for the city of Atlanta. So starting yesterday, July the 8th, there was a mandate in the city of Atlanta where everyone has to wear a mask if they're in public places. It really should be a national thing. Of course, we saw yesterday with the president. He wants to force that all schools are open by August from a national standpoint, and there really isn't a real plan to keep kids safe. It's just kind of ridiculous because the president's theory is that because kids are healthy and they recover, that they will be okay if they contract COVID-19. But he's not thinking about them taking the COVID-19 back to their parents, back to their uncles, back to their grandparents. So this is another situation where we've seen poor leadership. It's just causing the increase in numbers when it comes to COVID-19. So, of course, if you're in the city of Atlanta, definitely mask up. If you got to go to the club, definitely mask up. If you're in the club, I'm sorry. If you're in the club, you got to go to a bar, put the mask on. We saw what happened last weekend, and it was just a crazy scene. So we want to definitely encourage people to put their mask on whenever they step outside of their house. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll come.
I want to say real quick, Amir, I was talking to a young lady yesterday in the store, and I asked her were her kids in summer camps, and she said the summer camps had to close because the COVID virus was spreading so quickly at summer camp. So for President Trump to say that he wants kids to
wow,
well, that's going to be crazy. Like I don't have little kids right now, so I'm not even aware of that. But she said in summer camps have closed. You know, she lives in Gwinnett County here in Georgia, and they had such a rampant spread because children aren't going to wear masks. If they do, they're probably going to wear them improperly because they're kids. And they had to close because of just the COVID spreading so quickly. So all those families are affected, and who knows what child will be receptive and what child will make the virus may affect them differently. So it's horrible leadership on number 4.
Yeah. I predict that if schools are forced to reopen from a national standpoint, there will be an outbreak of COVID-19 in the school systems. Kids just don't really have the wherewithal to social distance because they just don't really understand. So yeah, I will predict an outbreak in schools if reopen. Go ahead, Romy.
Here's my 2 cents before you finish your report. This is the problem that I'm having, because now it's getting, excuse my language, it's getting fucking ridiculous now. 45 is on another path. Your mayor is on another path, and your governor is on another path.
Yeah.
But y'all expect people to be in one
path. Yeah.
I see why people are confused. I see why businesses are confused. I see why people are challenging, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, doing this, doing that, because no one in the leadership of government
consistent
or on the same level. And the age group between 27 and I believe 31 or 35, that is the biggest level of people getting it right now. I think a lot of young people felt like it's something that only old people will deal with and have a hard time. So that's another thing that we need to make sure that we mention, that it is not just an elderly person's danger. The biggest group of people getting it, there was a 24-year-old girl that was preparing to pass away. This is not, we keep hearing so many different messages. You're right, Romeo, that everybody is doing different things, but it's not something that only the elderly need to be concerned about. This is something that we all, between children, teens, young adults, everyone needs to be concerned.
Yeah, Keisha,
well, they had a swimming pool. They had a swimming pool in the club in Atlanta, I think, over the weekend. And then for me, I have a son. I have one last child to make it through school. And I just think with the glass and all of that, I just think that's not going to work. I think it's like an imprisonment for the children to have to be behind all of this glass and the separation. But I think about the bus route too. I think they said they're going to do something like one child per seat or what have you. I'm like, okay, what is that? A double, triple bus route? What time is the bus driver going to start picking up the kids?
I never thought about that.
Let me ask the parents on this panel. I guess that's Crystal and Keisha. But before we move on, I want to ask this question. For the parents who have to go to work and they can't monitor their kids, I guess how do we fix that situation?
Well, the thing that I heard, and I interviewed Dana Chanel and Prince Donnell a couple of months ago when this all first started, and one of their solutions was that people really, as families, are going to have to start, coming together and helping one another. If my children were young right now, I definitely would not send them to summer camp. I doubt I would even send them to school. Probably would have a family member stay with them. We have to rely on our family and friends, because at this point, it's just too dangerous, especially if you have a child. My son had asthma when he was young, which would have made him a high risk, because whenever he would catch a cold, he would end up on a breathing machine. So I couldn't take the risk. So I think that families have to rely on each other to help out right now. And we have to really support each other as a community.
I agree with you on that, because the children, come back to maybe a parent or a sibling that's high risk as well. So all of that, I just think that the family needs to come together. Someone needs to be designated, to maybe be the teacher or what have you. They have to have options for the children. For me, I'm not going to lie. Before they even took the children out of school, I had already taken my son out of school, because I'm just that type of person. I'm a leader. I call my own shots. I don't wait for the world to tell me what to do. So some people are going to have to really start thinking outside the box and figure out what you're going to do. You saying, oh, times have changed. Black Lives Matter. We're no longer oppressed. It's not the same. Well, even for your children's education, times have changed. Things are not the same. You're going to have to do something differently.
Definitely. To our producers, do we have time for the next report, or should we move on? I want to make sure. Okay, before we wrap up, the 50 Cent T.I. beef is definitely, I think it's going to another level. 50 Cent responded to T.I.'s versus challenge by posting an old video of T.I. Doing a Crime Stoppers commercial.
Some people call me Tip, but this is about another kind of tip that can help our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, and our fathers help get the perpetrators who commit crimes against them off the streets. All you got to do is call Crime Stoppers Atlanta. Tips can be anonymous, and there's even a reward. The number to Crime Stoppers Atlanta is 404-577-8477. That's 404-577-TIPS. Channel 2, community coverage you can count on.
So it's gonna give everybody some context of what this was. So back in 2007, when T.I. was of course arrested with all those machine guns, he was facing like 30 years in prison. So in order to stay out of jail, he had to do different community service type gigs, and that was one of the things that he had to do was to do something with Crime Stoppers. 50 Cent put that out there yesterday, but T.I. owned up to it and said he never snitched on anyone. He said he's never been involved in that type of situation. So you got this back and forth with those two. We're going to see if they're going to have a versus battle. I still think T.I. is going to win if they put their songs up, but I think the trolling will get interesting between those two if we continue on. And that's my report. We're going to go to this next segment. We have a treat for you guys we got a treat.
Oh man. Oh, going back to the album cover.
He's back.
Oh, we got more.
With the album cover. Yeah, these was like special guests to the birthday boy. Look at him. Oh, look at the look.
Birthday.
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes.
Yes.
Look at the
Oh,
eyes.
thanks, everybody.
He ain't slick.
I see how you do that. What? Right.
So we
yeah,
definitely want to give a shout out, happy birthday to Munson Steve.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Another success to this next chapter, brother.
Another day. Positive thoughts of the day for rolling out AM. The wake up call. We'll start with Crystal Jordan.
Oh my gosh. You are powerful beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. So please walk with that for the rest of today.
Keisha Greene.
If you believe it in your mind, you can stand when you have nothing to stand on.
Cool. Pass the ball to whomever you choose.
Romeo.
Thank you, Keisha. My positive thought of the day comes from a classic album. Look, I'm just trying to share with you. King James.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Keisha and Crystal, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you have faith in what it is that you want and write it down and walk in it as if it's already happened, it will come to pass according to the man up above. That is my positive thought of the day. Pass the ball to A.R. Shaw.
I'm catching the ball, and I'm going to say you gotta this second half of the season, second half of the year, finish strong. Finish strong. We only got a few months left in the year, so definitely finish strong. That's my positive thought of the day, and I'm going to send it to the born day, bro. Let's go, Munson.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes. It's been phenomenal. But I couldn't have had the life that I've had without everybody else surrounding me. So for those who have helped and created this vision, this legacy, thank you all, because it's not about my birthday. It's really about the fact that I'm loved by the people that love me. I'm surrounded by creative people that are always there in spite of my frailties, in spite of all the mistakes that I've made. Given this industry and the changes, at this moment, this is my last apology for the past. So if you don't hear me, I know that my behavior has not always been the best being in this industry. So you better capture this moment. You know, obviously we're working to do better as men to adjust our behavior. But literally at this time, we are proud of the ladies of Rolling Out. Crystal, Keisha, to Portia, and all of you out there. But if nothing else,
Ashley.
Okay, Terry, it's not your turn, man. I mean, I know insecurity. It's not your turn. You know, all the people that we love, all the ladies are rolling out. There are so many out there that make it so that we're there. But, you know, anyhow, actually, Terry wanted to make sure that you said it. It wasn't his turn. But to everybody out there, we really appreciate you. Keisha, you've been a wonderful addition. Crystal, obviously we miss Cass, but we want to continue to evolve as a wake-up call. It is not just so that you get out of bed, but so that you change your behavior and find the information that will change your life. I'm Munson Steve. This is A.R. Shaw, Romeo International, Keisha Greene, Crystal Jordan, and the first King James. We are the Wake Up Call. 8 a.m. We love you. See you tomorrow. Peace.